Hello, welcome back to Outmouse Labs. My name is Penny, and I'm glad you're here. We are continuing with our hunt for Zadrius' tomb make a game together today, and it is my weekend, so I might be able to get a couple extra videos in. We'll see. This should be a somewhat shorter one. I have started working off screen on our first town, which is the Ivormore port. Now, there's a couple of things that are interesting about this. We aren't going to be able to go into town itself. Everything that's going to be available is just this little port area. This is going to be blocked off. But by putting the street and buildings, we do suggest that the town exists. Next, I just put together a map using my available tiles. I think this looks like a pretty good little port. We have our large dock, which is where our ship will be, and that'll be our next thing. A couple of custom assets. As usual, I made them in Aspirate. So I made this grate. I made this exit for our sewer. Anything else that I edited? I edited these two tables to have stuff on them, and I added things to this outdoor tile set that are not part of it. I also made this set of boxes. Okay, so then the kind of meat of today is working on our NPCs. So NPCs, ideally they say something interesting. Ideally they have a couple of different pieces of dialogue, and ideally that dialogue matters. Now this game looks and is meant to be similar to Final Fantasy 1 or Dragon Quest 1. So most NPCs are going to say something plot relevant. In more modern games, they tend to have larger scripts, and there's nothing wrong with that. I might have a few that are just there. But I think because I'm a one-person developer and I actually want to finish this game, I'm going to keep it relevant. So what have we got so far? Well, we hit F6. We go into our NPCs. We can take a look around. We have a Constable Toro who mentions that his aunt lives off the coast and collects crystal swan figurines. So that's setting us up for a side quest later. So I've made Madame Toro's Manor to remind myself to actually do something with it. Now take a look at the way I've set up this dialogue. There's two main ways to do branching, like multiple dialogues. This is one of them. So we say if self switch A is off, say this, and then turn self switch A on, jump to the label talked, which ends the event. If it's on, it's going to skip this and say this, and then we are going to turn self switch off, so it'll go back to saying the other thing. So this is going to create a literal sort of A-B situation where it's either going to say this or this back and forth. That's if you want to make sure everything gets said. The other way is to set a random number and have, say, 4 different things, and it rolls a number and shows one of those sentences. We're going to do that too at some point, and I'll show you that. So we've got that set up. We have our Aloran monk, Sazi, who's going to ask a question, and based on the answer to that question, is going to give the player an item. Tell me what is the meaning of life. The options are to find peace, to serve others, to acquire wealth and power, or there is no meaning to life. And each one of these is I'm going to give a skill shard. And that skill shard will teach an ability. They'll only get one, and there is no option to cancel, which you can turn off by saying disallow. So they will end up with one ability here. Okay. Let's see. We have our inn. Our inn is a little bit more complex. So this is Rosie the barista. Introduces, you can talk or ask for the inn. If you talk, we use that same system to have two different things that she'll say back and forth. And then if you say inn, she'll introduce the idea of the inn, check if you have 10 gold. If you do, she takes it. There's a small scene, and you're all set. If you don't, she tells you don't have enough money. Then we have our equipment shop, introduces themselves, has a small amount of equipment. Just so you know, the shop processing by default is right here on number 3. And then our item shop is the same. So that's what we have so far. Let's go ahead and take a look at it, and then we'll probably keep working. I really decided to go ahead and start the video up because I wanted to show the how these things can be made to be important or valuable. Now you notice our innkeeper walks back and forth, has a set route. And I believe if we get in her way, she'll just stop. But then when we get out of her way, she goes right back to it. Yeah. Okay. Constable Toro, my aunt lives on the island off the coast. Auntie collects crystal swan figures. She will trade you valuable items if you can find some for her. And it should go back to the first. Yep. And we can do that infinitely. Same trick here. Hey there, traveler. How can I help you? Talk. Now there are ships going to the Ravaged Lands. My cafe is doing great. Talk again. The Ravaged Lands are east across the Aloran Sea. One more time, and we're back to the beginning. Okay. We try to use the inn. We don't have any money. So she introduces it. Yes. I'm afraid your purse is a little light. Now I have a debug menu set up. If I hit the 1 key, I can go in here and give myself gold. That gives me 100,000 gold. So now I can go in. Yes. Glug glug. Plays the end music. But I tell you, good luck out there, traveler. And there you go. Now, Sazi isn't done, but we can see that we don't have an option to cancel. If we hit the cancel button, nothing happens. And let's say to find peace. And there we go. And for now, that's all that's going to happen there. But we are going to change that. Shops. We can take a look at our shops here. We're going to buy a pair of leather vests, a pair of bandanas, a pair of bucklers, and a pair of guard stones. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to do this, actually, because you wouldn't have this much money. We're going to go to equip, optimize, and there we go. Okay. Bad luck for sailor to leave port without one of my remedies. We can buy, say, 5 antitoxins, 5 HP loaf, and 5 MP loaf. Spending money like water, and there it is. Okay. So, that is the basics of what this looks like. Let's see, anything else to show right now? And then that's going to be our next area. I think that is it. So we'll go ahead and pop out of here and keep on going. Pardon me. All right. So the next thing is to, we either need to set this barrier up or we need to set up Sazi. I think we're going to set the barrier up. And I think the way we're going to do that is we're going to put a guard here. So that's going to be people 5. We're going to put, should they be the same color? I guess they are. It's a uniform. So yeah, I think so. So same as Constable Toro. This will be Constable Zadrius. And he is going to say, I'm sorry, we had an incident at the royal prison. No one is allowed to enter Ivormore right now. And of course that incident was you escaping, so you'll know that. Then we're going to have, I'm going to show a balloon event. And then have the player step back one. And we're going to have them turn around as well. So I guess we could just say, yeah, we'll do it that way. I think it looks a little better. Okay. And we're going to have this actually happen first. And it isn't going to happen when you talk to Constable Zadrius. That's actually going to be its own thing. It's going to be here. And this is Block Town event. It's below characters, it's player touch, it's everything we just did. And we're going to do something cool with it. You could just copy this, and that would be just fine. That would be copying it along each of these. But we have a plugin that makes it just a little bit nicer. So it's one of our TSR ones. Oh, you know what? That might actually be, that might be an MV plugin that Northern Frog did. Okay, well, never mind. Okay, so now no matter where you step, you're going to end up in that same position. And there's no way for you to end up the wrong direction, so we should be okay there. Now, if you do talk to Zadrius, it's going to be similar. You're supposed to be purple. There we go. If we do talk to Zadrius, we want it to be I'm going to say something. Sorry for the inconvenience. We should have things in order in a couple of days. In a few hours. There we go. And that's all he's really going to say, because we don't need any of that. And there we go. So, we'll go ahead and test that. I'm going to turn off the showing all the things in a minute here. Okay. Okay, we should go up. There we go. I think that looks just fine. It's a clear, invisible wall, but I don't think it's a terribly intrusive one. I think if you're playing this kind of game, you should expect there to be some invisible walls. Excuse me while I take a quick drink. Earl Grey cream done as an iced tea. If you haven't tried it, I do recommend it. All right, let's see here. Next up will be our various shards. So we have, like, Find Peace should be a buff, like a mental buff. Serve Others should be a heal. Acquire Wealth and Power should be an attack buff. And There Is No Meaning to Life should be a, like dark attack. Okay, so we go to skills. Actually, real quickly, I've been meaning, I want to change the name. Skills is spells is too specific. Skills is too broad though, and I've been trying to think. I thought about techs. I thought about abilities, but it's too long. So, well, let's go with spells for now, even though they're not all spells. I still think it's better than skills. Especially since we're doing a D&D theme, skills mean something pretty specific, which we may implement later. All right. So, skills. We have our burn skill, and our dark attack's going to be very similar. So that's the one we'll create first. We'll just change it from the fire to the dark. We're going to call this... let's call this Despair. Inflicts psychic damage to a single enemy. I think it's going to do the same amount. It's going to be... Well, did we get rid of it? Oh, we did. We need to put that back in. Change maximum by 2. And look at us. Let's do Psychic and Radiant. Alright. Back to skills. This does Psychic damage. Variance, critical hit, MP cost, 1 enemy. Change this to... There we go. Darkness single. Perfect. Okay. Alright, so told you that one would be the fastest. Next up, we're going to do a heal spell. We're going to go grab from the basics here. We are not going to call it heal. We're going to call it, let's see. Well, it could be heal, restore, cure, remedy, cure wounds would be the traditional for D&D. Lay on hands. I guess we'll just do heal. It's fine. We come up with something later. We can. All right. recovery single, recovers HP, and this is one of our formulas. We're actually going to be using a different one this time. So Visual Studio Code. Look at our formulas. Heal. There it is. We're going to go in here. All right, so dot heal. Stat is going to be a.met. Number of dice is going to be a.level. Die size is going to be 6. And bonus is going to be, I think there should be a bonus. What did we do with the bonus on? We did math.min 16 or level times 4. I'm okay with that being essentially what we do here. There we go. But let's have the bonus be a little bit higher. It can be up to, let's do 50 or level times 4, because that means it'll be like level 13. It'll sort of stop being, kind of the max. All right, so apply. All right, so that looks good. So there's our hero spell. Very good. And then we said a mental buff and an attack buff, I believe. Again, I think those are in here, so let's just take a quick look. Yep, attack power and magic power. There it is. So we'll put them right next to each other, and then we're going to grab a hold of them. It's nice because these ones that are already here, there's nothing wrong with them except for usually the names, and of course, since we're using small numbers, we have to change that. So we're going to call this, they're going to call this focus, or we could call it lethal focus, and we could call this breath. Okay. Lethal focus increases the attack power. Actually, we should check fire damage, psychic damage, restores HP. Increases the attack power of a single ally. Can be stacked up to 2 times. That's fine. MP cost. Typically, you want your heal spells to be just a little bit cheaper, and you want your buff spells to be just a little bit more. So we'll do 7 on these. Okay. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. The enhancement is fine. Add buff, that's fine. Okay. Those are fine, just as is. Wonderful. Okay. So I believe that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That is everything. Now, here is the slight weakness to using items to teach things, is you got to make one for everything. So it is what it is, though. And once you do it, it's done, right? So we have our dark. We have our heal, which I think is going to be this. We have our weapon, which I think is going to be actually the red. And we have our magic, which I think is going to be the blue. We're going to call this teaches heal, so heal shard. This teaches, or no, I'm sorry, that teaches despair. Heal. Focus. And breath shard. Okay. Excuse me. And then we have to go through and create our common events, which is why we put it at the end. Let's do, better do like 30. I can't imagine we're going to have more than 20 abilities, but you never know. All right, so change skill for Quill to, this one teaches despair. Learned the despair spell. Here's a neat trick that isn't true of MZ but not MV. You can insert color index by right-clicking and choosing the one you want. It's quite helpful, actually. Let's see. Let's try this one. Okay. This is going to teach Quinn heal. I might sneeze here in a minute. Let's see if I can mute myself before that happens. There we go. Alright, so learn the heal spell. And we will do that as the yellow 6. Okay. And copy, copy, copy. This is going to teach lethal focus. This is going to teach breath. Lethal focus. Lethal focus. Breath. Orange is 2. Breath. Oop. Got ahead of myself. And we want that kind of like darker blue for this. So maybe this one. Okay. So breath, breath, lethal, lethal, heal, heal, despair, spare, burn, burn. Skills are set. Items. Teach despair. Teach heal. Teach lethal. And yeah, it's a bit repetitive, but you know, you get it done and then you have your stuff. Okay. So, those are all good to go. And we will go over here. And we're going to say, well, ultimately we know we're going to give item increase by 1, the despair shard. Okay, so we know we're going to do that. When to serve others, that's going to be a heal shard. Wealth and power, it's going to be a lethal focus shard. No meaning to life, a breath shard. Maybe we should there we go. Yep. Okay. Okay, so there we are. Breath, heal, lethal, despair. That's our items. And we should have him say something. And I think I'm going to use one of my favorite quotes. The saying goes, we do not see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. Okay? Now, I'm going to not let you do this over and over again, but I am going to start by saying you can so that we can test them all together. Save ourselves a little time. Okay. Okay. I'm going to fix that now before I keep forgetting. Okay. Wonderful. Define peace. Okay, says the thing. To serve others. To acquire wealth and power. There is no meaning to life. Alright, so we should have, and we do. Wonderful. Okay. Ah, I see an error there. A gym that teaches quill burn is not it. So let's go ahead and go in here. Breath, heal, lethal, despair. Very good. Skills, despair, heal, lethal, breath. Good. Teaches burn, teaches despair. Okay, heal. Lethal focus. Breath. It was 12, I believe. Okay. Okay. So we will go ahead and start that over. Define piece. Items, breath. Perfect. Teaches breath. Okay. Learn the breath spell. Did we in fact learn it? We did. Wonderful. Learn the heal spell. Perfect. Acquire wealth and power. No meaning of life. Lethal force, breath, despair, heal. Perfect. Everything is right as it should be. Good. Happy. The only thing I noticed is they don't tell you you received anything. It's just kind of this generic statement. So we're going to say show text, dim, middle. You know what? In truth, there is no right or wrong answer. Please take this gem in honor of our meeting. Okay. And we'll say, yep, well, I'm just going to have to put it in all four. I know it doesn't really matter. It just I always try to find the way that doesn't repeat, but this is what it is. Received a breast shard. Received a heal shard. Is that correct? Yeah, it is. Lethal focus shard. I just realized that that zero's not in the right place. Ugh. It doesn't really matter, but Professional, right? Always do your best. Okay. Anything you can catch right away, you don't have to fix in the edit. Actually, I really appreciate that about doing this as sort of a series of videos. I get to kind of edit on the fly because I know that you guys are going to notice, so I'm paying extra attention. Okay, let's just do one of them. We don't need to do them all, but we'll do one to make sure it kind of reads the way we want it to. There is no meaning to life. In truth, there is no right or wrong answer. Please take this gem in honor of our meaning. She's a despair shard. What's a despair shard? Oh, it's a teaches despair. Quell in despair. What's that do? It inflicts psychic damage to a single enemy. Well, how lovely. Okay, well, that covers our monk. Alright, so we have a couple new abilities. We have some NPCs that talk a little bit about what's going on. What do you think? Do we need anything more? We have this blocked. Do we want to have like a random person? Like we could have a kid running around this. Alright, so to make our little girl, we are going to make a new event. And we are going to set it up so that if the result var is a 1, 2, 3, or 4, she's going to say something different each time. Now we could just do control variable random, say 1 to 4, and that would be fine. The problem is that you would be able to get the same message more than once, maybe even 3 or 4 times in a row if you got unlucky. So what we want is a type of random number generator that always gives a different number. So we made one. This script is aml.attackformulasdnd.norepeatrng, and right now it's set to do between 1 and 4. What's it look like? Well, if you go over here, we have a function which takes a min and a max value and declares a current variable. Then up at the top, we have outside of the function, a last RNG. All right, so down in it, we say do current equals this formula, which creates an integer based on 0 to 1 float times max plus 1 minus 1 plus min. Basically, that's how you make a die roll. It's the same that we used up here to make our regular die roll. Then we say while current equals last RNG, just do it over and over again. Once the computer determines, okay, it is not the same, then it's going to set last RNG to current and return current. That's it. Nice and simple. Okay, so I'll leave that there for you can see it for a second. Pause it if you need to. Remembering that this is just a container that we created. It's just sitting in the box. Once we are happy with it, we go over, we declare it, we hit OK, and we test. All right, so Maida says, my daddy, there is going to be an eclipse soon. I like summer. My daddy says there's going to be an eclipse. I like summer. Did you know? Living next to. Did you know? Different each time. And that's all there is to it. Okay. So there's our little girl, and that is going to finish up our video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, this has been a ton of fun. I'll keep it up as much as I can. And happy game making. See you next time.